That's gonna again one of those art lore videos. Let's go. Art lore video. The Wicked World of Worms. I have never played Worms before. I've never, by the way, by choopo. I've never played Worms before. Never. I've seen it. I've seen people play it, but I myself have never played it. We'll just jump in.
Hello everyone, I'm here in my local museum. Recently I've been a bit fixated on the concept of warfare, namely in regards to intention, objectives, and justification for it. When it comes down to it, we have an abundance of moments in history that arose for situations that raised the stakes too high, too fast, some of which for power, some for change, and of course, the worst kind, violence to be violence. Worms. There is...
Worms. Violence to be violent. I enjoy violence to be violent. I raise a glass of sake in honor of the Emperor. Yep.
Just something I can't wrap my head around with these Worm fellas. Like, this is a franchise with a legacy and like over a dozen games, and they really only...
Like, look. You sit there, right, as a game dev, and you're like, you know what would be cool? Worms. But they're doing warfare. Why? What is the idea?
Fight to fight, and this isn't like a game or an in-universe sport where it's all fun with militaristic practice benefits like Splatoon or Rainbow Six Siege that has their rounds canonically act as in-universe training for some reason, little old Ubisoft being little old Ubisoft. The Worms enter battles just because they can, usually a four-way war on whatever location, whatever happens, 4v4v4v4. Last team standing is the winner with whatever resources they're able to obtain.
Why are these little guys fighting each other? Why do these little naked-looking dudes fight each other? They just do it because they can?
They are practically indifferent to what happens to them in each respective incident. Like, I mean, the life of a worm is a questionable one. On a rainy day, you end up on blacktop, and that can result in your instant death. You have all kinds of things that can make you cease to be. You are a pink lime. A squirmy wormy exists to improve the quality of soil, and what the heck?
Yeah, and when there's a little bit too much sun, you start becoming rusty and crusty. It is what it is.
Hell are they fighting for in the front?
POV, you asked other women. Not dudes, worms. Who cares? Look at it. When you ask other women, the worst she can say is no. The worst she can say.
Lines. The Worms universe is generally like probably maybe totally the worst place you can find yourself in, except for maybe like a town on fire full of cannibals or those like big dogs from Lethal Company. I feel that might be a worse situation. So I mean, first off, you're a slug person, no legs, you're bug-like, you pretty much slide everywhere. And I gotta be real with you fellas, I don't quite know if I really like that very much. Personally, I actually enjoy having legs. They're important to me. Not even my legs, other people's legs. I wanna get stepped on.
Wait, what? Did I mishear that?
If I really like that very much. Personally, I actually enjoy having legs. They're important to me. Not even my legs, other people's legs. I want to get stepped on. Growing.
You want to do what?
Enjoy having legs. They're important to me. Not even my legs, other people's legs. I want to get stepped on.
Why do you want to get stepped on? Is that what is your weird? Wait, what? Do you call your woman mommy? By any chance?
Growing up, I wanted to own a trampoline park mansion. I can't really do that well if I don't have the legs that let me go boing. Somehow the worms can jump, and all I can think about is the insane amount of upper body strength it would take to jump the heights they do without the use of legs for extra force. According to all the YouTubers I watched play this franchise instead of play any of these games, like I'm sure the majority of you guys watching this probably also did, doesn't matter which of these channels, don't lie to me. Well, Worms gameplay is very simple. It's war, sometimes 2D, sometimes 3D, always with casualties.
There's a first...
Sometimes 2D, sometimes...
There's a first-person Worms shooter. There is a Worms FPS? What?
3D, always with casualties, unnecessary ones. I might add, based on all the commercials we see in the respective games, they're just doing all this for fun. They will instigate militaristic conflicts without any sort of historical context that validates this behavior. They try and make
They just start war for no reason. So G-Gen even poking you to take 3 takes. What do you mean by that? Are you saying I'm degenerate? No, it's Worms 3D. That still looks like a 3D. That still looks like a first-person shooter.
Make a functional society that fails because you're trying to build shopping centers while also having your customers kill each other in them, as we see in the hit battle royale Worms Rumble. By the way, is this still
There's a Worms Battle Royale. I'd play that if it was still around.
running? I've literally never seen anything about this game since launch. Like, did any of you know there was a Worm Battle Royale game, and apparently there was a 2025 update that doesn't let your game launch? How is this still alive? That's very funny to think about. Like, imagine being the guy who updates Worms Rumble. I hope they have a good life. Is there a story? Not really, kind of. Most of the creatures capable of establishing a history or anything like that suffer a painful, excruciating death following the unjust draft lotteries that are breaking apart worm families, as they probably all perish in those low-quality CGI animations I'm weirdly in love with. Chances are the majority of worms get splattered into molecules, and that
They look kind of cute. What is this? Why do they look kind of cute? Why did they look like cute, goofy little guys that you can like hat pat and like, what is this? Also, I don't think they have a mouth. I don't think that's the mouth, is it? Also, they all have the same faces. Maybe they're not so cute.
That's pretty unfortunate, especially since most of the ones we see don't have known names. The most information we get about any of them would be the legendary soldier by the name of Boggy B. He's just a worm who looks the same as every other worm, though he's the subject of a few war songs and legends. His father, who was also a worm, left to go get the milk when he was 2 years old, and then he fought wars on his own that exist for the reason of... shit, I don't know, what did worms fight over? He's had like 3 official appearances. One
Soil? Soil. They fight over good mineral soil. Good mineralized soil. Feeling cute, might commit war crimes later. Worm. But you think you think they are the same? Oh my god. Yeah, they are the same. I'm sorry. Racism. Wormism.
One of them was a puzzle game called Worms Blast. Who is this for? Who's the lucky kid that got Worms Blast for Christmas? I bet they own a hardware store in Seattle.
There's even a female worm. Why are their hands not attached to them? Same reason why Sonic's arms are not attached to him. Ever looked at 3D Sonic back in the day? Bro's arms are not attached to him. It's really weird.
Or something. I mean, thinking about it, as for reasons for fighting, all of them boil down to essentially childish behavior over anything else. I've seen assassination attempts over golf and tennis tables for the most unneeded reasons on the planet. Worms that could be celebrities.
Damn! What a move!
Essentially childish behavior over anything else. I've seen assassination attempts.
Did they play table tennis with the grenade?
Over golf and tennis tables for the most.
Like, look at him! First he crushes him. Ever looked at Rayman? True, that one as well. First, he crushes him there.
Unneeded.
Then he lifts him up. And then he plunges him down onto the floor.
Reasons on the planet. Worms that could be celebrities or even...
What a move. That's worm crimes.
Innocents have been slaughtered in their own homes. There's a casino in Wormtopia.
Why did they look like they were jerking each other off? I love how I feel tired and want to take a nap, and then my body's like, nah, go to the store. I guess so. I didn't know Sonic arms weren't attached. I swear that they are now. They are now, but they weren't. Look at Sonic Adventure 2 Sonic. His arms aren't, like, they aren't properly attached.
Where the slot machines have an option to just drop actual dynamite if you land on something. Like, about to explode, near active dynamite. That can just happen to you. Why would you do that? Why would you make a product that kills your customers? That niche is already filled. That's what cigarettes do. That's
Cigarettes. Cigarettes, alcohol. Yeah.
besides the point. This is optional. Just
McDonald's.
Just let a worm gamble their child's college fund in peace. So much of this is optional. Is there any way to go around it? Can you live a life where there's not a guarantee of bullshit going on? Is this violence for violence? Not even a sprinkle of justification for this behavior? I think so. I really do. The only potential other possible option could be for like worm religion based on the existence of the holy hand grenade along with frequent worshipping of the great.
Why? Why to go but get crushed by a donkey statue? What the heck?
Concrete donkey. But first off, the implication of worm Christianity or religion or worm Last Supper or even anything close to that, you know, I'd honestly prefer if this wasn't for religious expansion. And the idea of a canonical worm Bible made me mildly nauseous. Otherwise, every single piece of Worms media boils down to explosions, of being the last worms standing, of tormenting one another, usually for no reason. The only thing more expendable than the lives of these worms are the lives of our worms. At least these ones don't have to deal with random bird attacks. No, you just gotta deal with the diplomatic instigation and rapid development of international worm conflict. But that's fine. All these poor worms entangled in a squirmy little fate that will either leave them digging in the dirt or resting 6 feet down in it. It bothers me how in one regard we're meant to
Why did they... Bro got the 4 before and after head behind me. Like, look at that freaking thing. Look at that freaking thing. Look at him. Look at him. And then this one. This one looks like the head of a penis. Especially this part. Below here. Then you got the tip. What is this? That's not a worm. That's a dick.
To perceive these worms with so much care and respect as they get characterized and normalized as the dominant species of the world. Also aware of the fragility and value and importance in life, yet when they're thrusted onto the front line, it's just to be another body. Like you can have one or the other. I don't think we realize what it means to be a worm in this great dirt mound of life. And throwing it away like that is rather peculiar. And the ideas of contradiction here, they complicate things as much as they make them unnecessary, even if the majority of worms are content with these fates for moments of flickering glory.
Yeah, they're just dead. That big one looks like deer. What the heck? How do you know what deer looks like? Okay, that needs information. Gonna listen to music for a bit. I'll be back. Take care, Diagonal.
I can't stand by and approve. These worms are intelligent, dude. They can prepare and concoct all sorts of genius machinery that can be beneficial for change, for evolution, for the growth of the individual. Instead, it all goes back to that original idea of there being no need for a world we all stand on.
The truth is this. Whenever there is anything that gets created, any new invention, there's something to be said here. We found fire, we turned it into a weapon. We found tools, we turned them into a weapon. We invented boats and turned them into a weapon. This is the peak human experience, but as worms.
Rather to be the last one standing in the world. In Worms 4, I don't even think there is, I actually don't think this is Worms 4. There's just a lot of these games. I'm pretty sure there's like 50 worm games. It's probably like 20 though, but Worms 4. There is a story mode here led by a scientist worm by the name of Professor.
Isn't this just Worms Albert Einstein? Professor Wormwinkle.
Sir Wormwinkle, who runs his own university, Wormwinkle University, possibly the worst name for a college campus, with the obvious exception of Ohio State University, because Columbus is a miserable shithole, and I wish to never see or think about that place ever again. There's nothing of value there. Just take my word for it, fellas. There's so many better options out there. But like, you can't even pursue an education here freely. It always resorts back to conflict for conflict. He has you running his dirty work for him, going to the bases of his enemies to destroy their construction sites, among other builds, and then it gets to so bad it alerts government worms. Don't even get me started on how the worm government would condone this behavior, not even for the casualty aspect, but the fact repairs of architecture goes back into the worm.
It's also like, they casually dig somewhere, and then they just dig out a bomb. Why is there so much conflict, so much war? Is this on worm games? I'm a huge worm fan. And 3D. Mayhem is still my favorite. And 3D, okay. Albert Wormstein.
tax dollars. Wormwinkle has a time machine, and you're using it to do this instead of like destroying your enemies in the past where they were less established or something. Guys, if you have a time machine with no consequence, there's literally no reason you shouldn't be doing that as much as possible for your benefit. You should be exclusively relying on that. Like, it was risky to run machines like the DeLorean, and that's fine, but this is a random magic one that runs on gold. This should be stupid easy to obtain. You should be able to figure out where gold is located, time travel there, get infinite gold. You have no problems forever. Why am I gaining the attention of the worm government when you could just be doing that? Like, Wormwinkle was already mad at the government. Apparently they're gonna destroy the university to put a new lab over it. Just time travel. So now Wormwinkle drags his students to the Middle Ages to deal with wormzards, wizard worms. Then you fight boggy bees and
Wormzards? Bro is traveling to the past to fix his problems of the problems of the future through war.
ancestor in the Wild West while getting a gold refill. Enter ancient Arabia. Leads to the Stone Age where Wormwinkle is then stranded by his team on account of being a dick to everybody involved. I mean, at this point, there's at least a fraction of justification for all this conflict. It's pretty much like us. It's the worm equivalence of war, but brought to the extreme on account of being worm brains instead of the superior intellect of the primate. In the past, there was this thing also called the OMG satellite, along with the equivalent of the arms race. And as a treaty was being prepared by all nations,
we got wormunism. We got wormunism, and that's crazy. Is there also a Adolf Wormler by any chance? And George Worm Bush? The W still works.
this satellite struck and ended the lives of a bunch of high diplomats. This incites endless war. This incites war in nations. This is one of many reasons, apparently. It has gotten to a point where they don't even recall why anybody is fighting. Everybody is just a number in this land. It's disgusting. It has been an inciting incident for the modern worm warfare. I'm curious if this is going to linger and reflect us. Is this a message? Is this a warning? Perhaps a retelling? It's hard to say, and I'm uncomfortable considering the route that's meant to be taken here. Even if the majority of stuff is animated like a bowling screen strike animation, it represents a fundamental issue within this environment.
Why is there just an old woman breakdancing? What the heck? What is this? Yes, it's one of the boss. Wormists. That's crazy.
Dragging everybody else into this. There's worms that gain superpowers like telekinesis, worms that have the ability to prove life for the better, and they just get plopped onto a randomly generated environment and have to fight for their lives, sometimes taking themselves out. It just seems like there's no point. You only have one wormy whittle life. Why would you choose suspended being beasts? You have the opportunity for something great here with all of this potential, culture, knowledge, advancements, and it feels like it goes.
Be worm, do war. That's all it needs. That's all we need. Just be worm, do war. War never changes. Worm never changes. Bro, we're out here committing worm crimes. That's crazy.
It's nowhere. You have a time machine. Just use the time machine. This is just yucky. One of the grossest things you can imagine. It's either this or an ugly shade of yellow or people named Devin. If they can't fix themselves.
I know a kid that's named Devin. He's a little shit. I don't know if he's still a little shit, but he is actually like a real little shit. Terrible. I think he also called a kid the N-word.
Then when I look at these worms and I say to myself, I don't know, can I fix them? I hope I can fix them. And the miracle that the worms see this strange little thing, this strange little proposition of like, what are you doing, worms? I hope they reflect, I hope they recognize that perhaps there is a better way than fighting for whatever they're doing. But I don't know, this is just me like balling around ideas. I skipped my aunt's funeral to be here.
Bro, what? Nah.
So bye.
This is incredible. This was an incredibly silly video. Holy grenade. This was an incredibly silly video, and I loved it. That's crazy. Like I said, I've never played a Worms game before. I've seen others play it, and I've seen videos of it, but I've never myself played one. That's crazy. That's interesting. I didn't know that it was the way it was. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.